Terry, and then Gant is my last name. We sell mostly graphic novels and collections of monthly comics. We still, like you can see, like we definitely stock monthly comics, but our bread and butter largely is the alternative and kind of a small press graphic novel selection and things like that. You know, it's still, Watchmen is a big seller for us still, Persepolis is a big seller, Mouse is still a big seller, Fun Home, books like that, you know. So there's a lot of books that like even, that you could say like a literary community would definitely still be interested in. Those outsell our monthly comics by a lot. And it's, this is probably still our biggest selling graphic novel, which is sort of just, it's essentially a Cold War story, or basically the story of what happens if superheroes actually did decide that they could have an effect, an impact on what happens in planetary politics, you know, what happens in the world. If they really decide they were really gonna make a difference, how might they do it, what would they do? Me, since I'm new, basically I'm sticking to my guns on what it was I thought, where the industry was going to begin with, then I don't really have to, I don't know that I'm protected so much as I think I'm trying to make some smarter decisions from a business standpoint. So if in a 6-week period, I really only think I'm gonna sell, you know, 10 copies of Spider-Man, then I'm not ordering any more than 12 copies of Spider-Man. It's easier for me to order more Spider-Man if I run out of Spider-Man than it is for me to sell extra copies of Spider-Man that are just sitting around collecting dust. The weather affects the business more than the economic downturn. We've had some people who might, let's say somebody who buys 12 comic book titles in a month, they might drop down to 10 or 8 comic book titles in a month because they'll say, yeah, I just don't think I have the money to spend on these other comics I'm not exactly so confident in. But what they'll do instead is, so instead of buying 12, those 4 that they drop, they'll buy when they're released in trade paperback form. So when the whole story's collected, they'll still buy it. So they didn't really alter their spending habits any more than just to say that they'll spend that money at a different point in time instead of spending it weekly or something like that. It's possible that people are buying one less steak dinner, you know what I mean? There's one night a week where they won't go out, but they'll still read. So since we're targeting people who like to read in the first place, it's almost not really so much an issue that if we were trying to open a business now, we might have a bigger issue with it, but you know, we opened in the summer thankfully, so we had a couple of months to at least get some buzz out there and get people used to coming here for stuff. I mean, really it's a matter of just getting through the winter. You know, I get into March and in April, and for the retail business, things tend to turn around anyway. You know, I knew I was gonna have an increase in business in November and December, right? I mean, our August was good, our September was good, our October was fantastic. So November, December, I knew things were gonna go up, and I knew January was gonna be rough. We're gonna have a lot more snowy days, it was gonna be colder than hell. In Chicago, who the hell wants to go out and shop in minus 20-degree weather anyway? You know, and the first time the temperature rises to 48, people go out and start grilling, you know? So tomorrow, for example, I think it's gonna be in the 40s. I expect a good day tomorrow, you know, no matter what, because people are just gonna be like, oh my God, we gotta get out there and go have dessert, you know? So I expect some walk up this weekend just from that, you know, and that'll be all right. You know, I think that even on days, I used to live and die by how much I made daily. And sometimes I think in a slight way, maybe I still do, but I do it a little less because it seems like it balances out. Like at some point, when you get to the end of the month, you look back and you say, all right, I spent the same amount of money, I made a little more money, good sign. You know, that's kind of what it seems to work out to for me.